So, Jackie, thank you so much for giving this time to talk about like your experience both in Clash of the Titans and in IB Film.
Yes, you're
First,
welcome. I'm very
that I
excited.
want to know, IB Film. Why did you choose IB Film? Like, why IB Film was something that you wanted to do?
Well, I was always, well, Mr. Grant, hi, Mr. Grant, if you're watching this, he really, when I was in 10th grade, we made some short films in class as a part of one of our programs called the Innovation Institute. So like, that was when I first had this like, oh my God, film is so much fun. And like, I just really like taking, I think film is kind of like a language, and it's a way to communicate with people that doesn't necessarily even speak the same language or is in the same place as you. So like, anything that you can connect to, it's like you're trying to tell stories that you connect to so that other people can connect to films as well. And that is why I chose IB Film as a part of my course
Perfect.
selections.
I would say, according to my understanding and your performance in Clash of the Titans, you kind of like IB Film, right? You succeeded, like you
Yes,
enjoyed.
I love it.
And like, did he have, like, what are you doing now in college? Like, can you tell us a little bit how it is, your university life, and how, if IB Film helped you in one way, how did it help you in your like university?
Yeah, IB Film definitely helped me a lot, like in my courses, like lectures, for example, when we're talking about film terms and stuff, while other people might like, it's pretty introductory, and at least I feel like it is because of all the stuff that we cover in IB Film, and having so much experience in the course really helps me to like excel in my classes, and like it really makes people like want to work with me, and it makes me really like easy to connect to people who already know a lot about the industry. And like IB Film is just such a great way to like, you learn how to make films, like you know how it works, but like it's not too, I feel like it's not too like an industry standard, so that in college you still have a lot of space to develop, and you have a lot to learn from other people. So I think it's like, it puts you at a great place entering college. Yeah, and in college right now, I mean, because of COVID, we're not doing too much. It sucks because we don't really get to work with people. So I'm just kind of flying solo on a lot of projects, but also the time crunch IB Film puts you under really like helps you to like, you know, cope with the stress of everything going on.
You are at Chapman, right?
Yeah, I'm at Chapman
I can
University
see
right
in
now.
your sweatshirt. It's cool. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing. So let's go a little bit now to the Clash of the Titans. You participated in 2020.
Yes.
Now I need to know this because you see, I want like ASP to win. And I heard some rumors that you did really well, like in 2020. Can you tell a little bit about how was your experience and how was everything?
Yeah, well, okay. Clash of the Titans was undoubtedly the time of my life. Like, best thing that happened in 2020, despite the fact that 2020 didn't go so great after Clash of the Titans. But yeah, it was definitely one of the best experiences I've ever had. Just being able to work on something in such a short time and be so proud of what you have to show at the end of it. Because like usually when you make a film, it's like weeks and weeks of planning, pre-production, production, post-production. And like at one point you just kind of like, I feel like you burn out, or there's that point where you lose motivation in what you're doing, where like, oh my God, I don't really like it. But during Clash of the Titans, you don't have time for that. Like throughout my experience, the whole time was just like a rush of adrenaline. And after it finished, it was like, oh my God, what happened? And all you know is like, that was so much fun. That was so exciting. Like, I'm so glad to have worked with so many amazing people with so many amazing ideas. Obviously, this year is a bit different from last year, but yeah, I'm sure it'll still be a blast.
Your film, like you were, if I'm not mistaken, SAS Blue, and your film won a lot of awards in the festival. Can you tell the
Yes.
awards that you guys won? Do you remember?
Oh, what did we win? We won, I believe it was Best Cinematography, Best Directing, Best Screenwriting, Best Sound Design, and Best Film.
Perfect. And what was your role in the film?
I was the screenwriter.
Okay. So what I need from you now, Jack, and I guess like with everybody watching this video want to know, how can we win this? So what's the trick? How did you guys work together? Because one thing that's important to say too, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys from Shanghai, you arrived on Wednesday morning and you went directly to ASP, stayed the whole day at
Yeah,
ASP, and then
yeah,
like Thursday morning, so no time to rest. It's like
yeah,
focused.
it was crazy. Okay, how to win. Well, what we did, my team and I was pretty interesting because we were consistent. I'm not sure how teams were formed this year, but in my case, we were two seniors and and three juniors at the time. So going into it, I was meeting actually a lot of new people. And I think not having expectations of who the other people are and just like getting to know them through the process is very important. So like, I guess the first tip I would give on team working is like, don't have preconceived expectations. Like just go in and then like, maybe you've heard something about, oh, like maybe this person's hard to work with, or like someone has a certain reputation. Just like, don't have that. Just go in and just like open up to everybody's ideas and just work as well like together as possible. And like I just went into it with a lot of excitement. We definitely lucked out with a lot of the drawing process. For example, we got to pick the actor first, and yeah, and we got I think our genres were horror and drama is definitely an easy one to do. But I guess regardless, whatever you get, just really like steer into the skid and just like start brainstorming the first night. That is something that I definitely did as a screenwriter, despite how tired we were. I was just like, okay, let's get to it. So like, and also I believe that when you are about to fall asleep, that is when you should be creating stuff, because that is when your brain is the most creative. So that's a tip. If you're tired, start writing. So I definitely think that really helped a lot. The first night, I just like drew out a lot of brainstorming and like I wrote down a lot of my ideas. So the second morning, which was pre-production, so I went into the room and I was like, okay, here are my ideas. And I gave them 3 pitches. So I pitched to my team 3 ideas, and then they liked one of them. So then we elaborated on one of those ideas. And then I was like, okay, how do we like make it more complex? What themes are we focusing on? And then we identified our characters' want and their need. And then we started plotting out our plot essentially. And then there was just a lot of discussion that morning. And there was this one point, it was really helpful for me as a screenwriter at one point where I was just like, okay, like you guys know what the theme is, you guys know like what vibe this film is. So our sound designer started like collecting sounds like in the sound room. And then like the director started like preparing props and talking to the actor while I was like, okay, everybody get out of this room and let me write the script. So I just focused and I wrote the script out. And when everybody came back, we edited it for a bit. And then that was just the end of script writing. And then we move on to the next part, which is storyboarding. And then we just all work together. While the sound designer, she was really ahead of the game because all sounds have to be original now in IB. Is that still the case?
Yes,
that is still the case.
Exactly. It's still the case. But now it's still the case.
Super fun. Super
exactly.
Fun. Yeah. So my advice for sound designers would definitely to be like, keep ahead of the game. Just start looking for sounds, making music right as like the challenge starts, because it's a very painful task. Well, it is fun, but it just takes a lot of time from what I learned from my sound designer, who was absolutely amazing. Well, but one tip that I would definitely give, yes.
One question for you, but like, did you work with them before coming to Clash of the Titans, or that was the first time you worked with them?
That was the first time I worked with my director, my cinematographer, and the sound designer. The only person I've worked with was the editor. So like, it was also like a kind of just like get to know you process. And we got so close during the process that we're still like best friends to this day. And that is another thing I love about Clash of the Titans. So one tip I would definitely give is that your role isn't confined to like, you don't have to just do your role. Like in my team, everybody did just a bit more than their role. Like whenever someone else needed help, you would go and like, just like when the cinematographer needs advice, everybody would give input. When we have nothing to do, we would help the sound designer who may be like a bit behind. So like, I think that like, oh, like I'm focusing on my task, but I am so willing to help out everybody in my team is definitely something that was really important to how we came up with something that was that we were really proud of.
And even acting, right? Because you were the cafeteria person, like giving
Oh
the
yeah.
coffee, right?
Yeah, my film definitely had a lot of characters. At first we were like, oh my god, is this going to be an issue? But we kind of just like, no, we're going with it, we're all going to act in it. And I think that was honestly another part that was super fun, was just
But
acting in
that's the
your
interesting
film.
thing. Like I'm very familiar to your film because I just showed in my
Mm-hmm.
class, as an
Oh.
example of a perfect film. You guys did everything that I always say that like don't do for competition, and was amazing to prove that the rules in filmmaking is like exist to be broken as long as you know why you're breaking it. Because like you said, you have like
Yes.
6 actors in your film.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have like non-stop dialogue or narration. Then you have like three
Yeah.
or different locations. Everything done like it's incredible. Like it was like really really cool. About the
Thank
script
you.
also, like from the draw, like because you said you guys were lucky because you got the first actor, you got good like genres, and the location was
Mm-hmm.
nice. I think the park was nice. Which those elements were you most worried about? Like it's like, oh, I need to have that actor, or I want that genre, or that location will be better. Was there any of the draws that you felt I'm worried about this one, or whatever it comes is great?
Um, Well, I don't think we were really worried about our actress, because we got to watch the audition tapes at first. So we didn't say like, "Oh, I like this one the best." We were talking about how this is, I guess, do they still have audition tapes? I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh, they do. Okay.
now is up
Uh-huh.
to the school. So for example, like
Um,
like we did at ASP, like I guess the other schools will do too, but it's still the same. You have the draw, and then you select one of the 5 actors according to the draw.
I see. Okay. So, well, when we went into it, our way of selecting, like looking at the actors and actresses, was writing down like what roles they would be good for. So we obviously I thought Mariano was super talented, and just when I started writing, when I well, I guess I don't think I was particularly too worried about any of the categories. It was like when we got the categories, we pieced them together to see what story would best fit whatever we drew. So it's like when I drew drama horror, and I also think another tip, watch some films before you go into the challenge. Like just watch some movies, because on my way to ASP on the plane, I watched Parasite for the first time. And I didn't notice when I was writing the script, but it definitely had some sort of like the mood kind of fit together. I realized that after, but I was like thinking about like maybe if I didn't watch Parasite, I would have had a different idea. So watching films beforehand definitely helps. So
That
when I
definitely has
got
a
drama,
flavor. There's a flavor of
yeah,
Parasite in your story. Like the way the narration goes around is beautiful. It's
yeah,
really good.
thank you. So yeah, after we drew everything, we were like, okay, a park is definitely easy. Like anything can happen in a park. It's just we just made sure it was outdoors. And then our genres was horror and drama. So we were like, I just decided to do drama because it was definitely, it's a very broad genre that you can put a lot of themes into. So that was
And
when I started.
and
Mhm.
the prop. How did you fit the prop in
Oh,
the
the
film?
prop. Right. I wrote it down on a brainstorming sheet. I wrote the prop, I wrote the location, and then I wrote the genre. So then I started like branching out and writing all the ideas. I think I had ideas about like the newspaper delivery guy, and like just like at one point I just really wanted to do something where someone wanted to kill someone for some reason. That was just where I was going for. And I was like, okay, let's do that. So maybe the newspaper can be a part. I think how we used it was our main character gave it to a guy to delay him from going to work. So I was just like, okay, that can be one of the ways she tries to kill someone. And like I
Awesome.
also, yeah, something else that I drew from was the butterfly effect, essentially, just like how one thing leads to another, because that was an idea that I've always wanted to do. So like having ideas in the past, like look through the ideas that you looked like that you were interested in the past, I guess, and try to like see if that works in this case. So I just kind of connected everything together, and then that's just how it came out.
And I'm curious if like did you use that film as part of your film portfolio for the IB final assessment?
I did. I used it. I used the entirety of the film for my screenwriting portfolio,
Awesome.
and it turned out great. Yeah.
Jackie, I would like, if it's possible, if you could like leave a message to the people from Shanghai participating and from all over the world participating in the Clash of the Titans. What would you tell them? Like just like a goodbye message, since you are part of the jury, so they have to make you happy watching their films, right? So,
um, well, 2020 was a tough year, and I wish everyone could be together this year. But it is so big this year. It is so much bigger than it has ever been, and I think that is actually an upside of this global edition, which is because so many schools can participate, and you can watch so many other people's films and be inspired by other people. So I think just go into it with an open mindset, be so excited for it, and just like give so much positivity to the people around you. And remember that everybody has unique ideas, and when they all come together, it becomes just so much better and so much more valuable. And everybody's input is always important. So just have a blast.
so Jackie, thank you so much for your time. Like, thank you, and I hope you enjoy also watching the 38 productions.
You're so welcome. Yes, and I'm very